The cold steel of the handcuffs bit into my wrists one last time as the guard shoved me toward the execution chamber. My brother's screams echoing down the sterile hallway like a gut punch from hell.
Ileana.
No, it wasn't me. Jake's voice cracked, raw and desperate. But the jury had already sealed his fate, and mine, 2 years earlier when they convicted him of murdering our father. I died knowing the truth. He was innocent, framed by the one person I trusted most. And as the lethal injection coursed through my veins for a crime I didn't commit to cover his tracks, I whispered a vow into the void. Death should have been the end, a merciful blackout after the betrayal that shattered our family. But instead, it hurled me backward like a glitch in the Matrix, slamming me into my 25-year-old body, 3 years before the nightmare began, with every goddamn detail etched into my soul. I gasped awake in my old Brooklyn apartment, the kind of walk-up where the walls were paper-thin and the radiator clanged like it was auditioning for a horror flick. Sunlight sliced through the blinds, hitting the faded Yankees poster on the wall, and for a split second, I thought it was just another hangover from one too many IPAs at the local dive. But then the memories crashed in, the trial, the appeals, the way the prosecutor's smirk had lingered as they strapped me down. My hands flew to my neck, feeling the pulse that shouldn't be there, strong and steady. Holy shit, I muttered, bolting upright, my heart hammering like a jackrabbit on Red Bull. The calendar on my phone blinked December 15th, 2019, 3 years before Dad's accidental fall down those construction site stairs. The one that kicked off the whole domino effect of lies and lost lives. I stumbled to the mirror, staring at the face that hadn't yet been hollowed out by prison fluorescence and grief. Eliana Reyes, paralegal extraordinaire, still had that fire in her dark eyes, the wavy black hair that frizzed in the humidity, and the tattoo on my collarbone, a tiny Brooklyn bridge inked on my 18th birthday with Jake. Back when we were unbreakable. But unbreakable?
Yeah, right.
That illusion shattered when Marcus Hale, my mentor at the firm, my lover in stolen hotel hours, decided our little family secret was leverage for his climb up the corporate ladder. Dad's construction company was bleeding cash, and Marcus had whispered in my ear about fixing it with some shady insurance tweaks. I said no, but he didn't. He pushed Dad harder, then staged the fall to collect the payout, framing Jake as the desperate son who snapped. And me, I got too close, digging into the files. So he pinned an embezzlement rap on me to silence the noise. Double betrayal. The man I loved destroying everything I held dear. No more. This time, I wasn't a wide-eyed idealist chasing justice in a system rigged for the rich. This was round 2, and I was playing dirty. First things first, Jake. I grabbed my phone and dialed his number, the one that would ring in his cramped Queens garage where he tinkered with busted engines, dreaming of taking over Dad's business someday. Eli, what's up? You sound like you just saw a ghost. Worse than that. Brother. Meet me at the diner.
Now.
We gotta talk about Dad's books. I hung up before he could argue, my mind racing through the timeline like a war general plotting D-Day. In the original loop, I'd ignored the red flags, the late-night calls Marcus took in the bathroom, the way he'd gaslight me into doubting my own gut. Not this time. I'd document everything, build an airtight case before they could bury us. The Liberty Diner was our spot. Formica counters sticky with syrup ghosts. The jukebox crooning Springsteen like it was 1985. Jake slid into the booth across from me, his grease-stained hands wrapping around a mug of black coffee. Those hazel eyes, Dad's eyes, narrowing in concern. At 28, he was all broad shoulders and quiet intensity. The guy who'd drop everything to fix your flat tire at 2 a.m. All right.
Spill.
You look like you swallowed a lemon whole. I leaned in, voice low, the words tasting like ash. Dad's company is fucked.
Jake.
Debts piling up. And someone skimming. I think it's from the inside. His face paled. Fork pausing midair over his eggs. In the first life, I'd sugarcoated it. Waited too long. Let Marcus's charm blind me.
Now?
I laid it out raw. The falsified invoices I'd glimpsed at the firm. The offshore accounts Marcus had mentioned offhand like they were cocktail recipes. You're shitting me. Jake's jaw clenched. Knuckles whitening. Dad would lose his mind. Reyes Constructions is blood. Sweat hell. His everything. He didn't know the half of it yet. That accident was coming in 6 months. On a rainy March night at the Midtown site, Dad, tumbling from the 3rd floor scaffolding after Marcus, inspected the safety lines. Jake would be there, hauling beams. And the cops would find his prints everywhere. His motive, a forged email trail painting him as the greedy heir. We fix this now, I said, sliding a napkin across the table, scribbling notes like a madwoman. You keep eyes on the sites. I handle the legal side. No one breathes a word. He nodded, that Reyes stubbornness kicking in, but I saw the flicker of doubt, trusting his little sister, the bookish one who'd bailed on law school for real work. If only he knew how many nights I'd spent in that first life, rotting in a cell, replaying every mischance. Back at the office, Hale and Associates gleamed like a shark's smile, glass walls overlooking the Hudson. Partners in $1,000 suits barking orders at interns like us. Marcus was there, of course, perched on the edge of my desk in that tailored navy blazer that hugged his frame just right, his easy grin disarming as ever.
Ileana.
Gorgeous. Rough morning. At 35. He was the golden boy, fresh off a big settlement, with salt and pepper hair and a voice like aged bourbon. In another life, it had melted me.
Now.
It made my skin crawl. Just family stuff, I replied, forcing a smile as I booted up my laptop. Phase 1. Play the part. Flirt back. Keep him close. Feed him enough rope to hang himself. You free for drinks later? I could use your wisdom. His eyes lit up. That predatory glint I now recognized. Always for you, Reyes. The days blurred into a tense tango. By day, I buried myself in Dad's contracts, cross-referencing ledgers with a forensic eye, uncovering the first threads, payments rerouted to a shell company in the Caymans, signed off by Marcus's digital ghost. Jake texted updates, missing tools at the sites, whispers of corner cutting on materials. Something's off.
Ellie.
Feels like sabotage. Damn right it was. Marcus was bleeding the company dry to cover his gambling debts, the ones he'd hidden behind that polished facade. In the first loop, I discovered the casino receipts too late, after Jake's trial, when Marcus testified against us both with crocodile tears. Nights were worse. Drinks turned to dinners. His hand on my thigh under the table at that overpriced Soho bistro, whispering promises of partnership, of us against the world. I laughed at his jokes, let him pull me into stolen kisses in the alley behind the bar, all while my phone recorded every murmur, every slip. Your dad's firm is a gold mine.
Ellie.
Just needs a little restructuring. Gold mine for you. You son of a bitch. But doubt crept in like fog off the river. Was I strong enough? In the mirror, I saw the old Eliana cracking through, the one who'd loved him, believed in redemption. One slip, one moment of weakness, and this second chance could implode. Jake called during a stakeout outside Marcus's high-rise, his voice tight. Found tampered brakes on Dad's truck. This ain't accidents anymore. My blood ran cold. Acceleration. They were tying up loose ends early. Stay sharp. I'm close. But close wasn't enough when Marcus cornered me in the file room that Friday, his breath hot against my ear. You're digging, aren't you? Think you can play me? For a heartbeat, terror gripped me, the echo of that first death, the needle's chill. Then rage surged, hot and clarifying. I twisted free, knee connecting with his groin just hard enough to stun. Touch me again, and you'll regret it. He laughed, rubbing himself, eyes dark with something feral. You're in over your head, sweetheart. Walk away, or your brother's next. The threat hung, confirmation of every nightmare. I fled to the stairwell, dialing Jake. It's him. All of it. That night, we met in the shadows of Dad's empty warehouse, the air thick with sawdust and diesel. Jake paced, fists balled, while I laid out the evidence on a makeshift table of plywood scraps. We go to the cops now? DA's office. His voice was gravel.
No.
The word dropped like a stone. Controversial decision numero uno. Trust no badges. In the first life, the system chewed us up, cops in Marcus's pocket, a judge who'd golfed with Hale partners. We build it ourselves. Leak to the press. Anonymously. Force his hand. Jake's eyes widened. Vigilante justice? In America, that was a one-way ticket to unhinged suspect status. But desperation breeds radicals, and I was reborn in it. As January thawed into February, the pressure cooker hissed. Dad noticed the tension, his salt-streaked beard twitching over morning coffee. You kids okay? Feels like you're carrying the world. If only he knew. I hugged him tighter those days, inhaling the scent of Old Spice and concrete dust, memorizing the lines around his eyes. Marcus escalated, anonymous tips to my boss about ethical lapses, a slashed tire in the parking garage. I countered with shadows, cloned his phone, traced the Cayman wires to his bookie's name. Evidence piled like bricks in a wall. Then the first crack, a journalist at the Post bit on my blind tip, running a fluff piece on shady dealings in family firms. Marcus panicked, cornering me in the elevator. You think you're clever? I'll bury you both. His hand shot out, but I was ready, pepper spray for my purse, a hiss that left him choking. Security hauled him off, muttering about workplace drama, but the seed was planted. Whispers spread through the firm like wildfire. Jake and I grew closer, forged in this secret forge. Late nights poring over docs, his arm slung over my shoulder. That brotherly ease we'd lost in the first timeline. You're different.
Ellie.
Stronger.
Yeah.
Dying does that to a girl. But strength has a price. Sleepless nights replayed the execution chamber. The way Jake's howls had faded as darkness claimed me. Was revenge justice? Or just poison? The moral tightrope frayed when Dad confronted me after a heated call with his accountant.
Eliana.
What's going on? Money's vanishing. I broke then, spilling half-truths, enough to warn him, not enough to tip Marcus. Dad's face hardened. We fight this. Together. Foolish optimism. March loomed. The storm date. I pushed harder, hacking Marcus's email with a borrowed script from a shady forum. God bless the dark web. Jackpot. Drafts of the frame job. Timelines matching Dad's schedule. But hubris bites. He caught wind, lured me to the site under pretense of reconciling. The rain lashed like whips as I pulled up to the Midtown skeleton, towers piercing the bruised sky. Marcus waited in the shadow of the scaffolding,
Schlicke gleaming wet.
You win, Eli. Let's end this. Lies. All lies. As I stepped forward, the world tilted, a shove. A scream swallowed by thunder. I hit the mud, ribs cracking. But this time, I rolled, drawing the concealed recorder from my coat. Admit it, I gasped. Blood, wait.
No.
Just rain, mixing with the grit. You killed Dad. Framed Jake. Used me. His face twisted, mask slipping. He was collateral.
The debts.
You don't understand.
Oh.
I did. Greed's the great American equalizer. But confession? Gold. I hit send on the auto-upload to Jake. To the journalist. Sirens wailing distant as security swarmed. They dragged him away in cuffs, howling denials, while paramedics checked my bruises. Jake arrived, scooping me up, tears carving tracks in the downpour. You did it.
Sis.
You fucking did it. But triumph soured quick. Dad. Safe for now. But the fallout? Marcus's partners circled, suing for defamation. The press frenzy painted me the vengeful harpy. Jake the lucky brother. Controversial? Hell yes, leaks. Hacks. A shove in self-defense that smelled like assault to the suits. Yet the truth spilled. Audits exposed the fraud. Charges stuck like tar. Summer bloomed in victory's shadow. Dad's firm stabilized. Jake at the helm. Me sidelined but content, nursing a beer on our stoop as fireflies danced. To second chances he toasted, clinking bottles. Twist came uninvited. A knife in the gut. Anonymous email. Post-trial, photos of me and Marcus. Intimate. Time-stamped prairie birth. Blackmail?
No proof.
I'd loved him once. Truly. In that blind way that dooms us all. The real betrayal? Not just his, but mine for ignoring the rot in our own house. Dad confessed over whiskey. He'd known about the schemes. Covered for Marcus to protect the family name. Thought I could fix it quiet. The secret buried deepest. Our patriarch. Complicit.
Bi kịch alcohol.
Both. I guess. Marcus rotted in Sing Sing. Dad rebuilt with ghosts. Jake thrived.
Me?
I walked away from the firm. Started my own practice for the framed and forgotten. Reborn. Not unbroken, but wiser. America's a machine that grinds dreamers to dust. But damn if we don't keep feeding it. The aftershocks rippled for months. A seismic hangover from the quake I'd triggered. New York didn't forgive easy. The city chewed scandal like gum. Spat it out juicier. By June, the headlines had shifted from Rhea's heir framed in father's suicide to paralegal's revenge. Lover's empire crumbles. Marcus's face plastered tabloids. That chiseled jaw now slack in mugshots. His firm's partners scattering like rats from a sinking yacht. Hale and Associates rebranded overnight. But the stink clung. Clients bailed. Whispers of that betrayal bitch following me like exhaust fumes. I holed up in the apartment. blinds drawn against the paparazzi flashbulbs, chain-smoking menthols on the fire escape while Jake hammered away at the business end. Dad's construction crew had swelled, bids pouring in now that the fraud cloud lifted, but victory tasted metallic, laced with what-ifs. What if I'd acted sooner in the first life? What if Dad's complicity made me the villain too? The email photos haunted my inbox. Deleted but indelible me. Tangled in sheets with Marcus. Eyes half-lidded in post-coital haze. Oblivious to the viper in my bed. Love's the cruelest blindfold, and I'd worn it like a crown. Jake dragged me out one muggy evening, insisting on normalcy at Coney Island, the boardwalk alive with shrieks from the cyclone and the sizzle of Nathan's hot dogs. "You're not disappearing on me again, Eli," he said, handing over a dripping corn dog, his grin lopsided under the neon glow. At 30, he looked every inch the boss now, khakis instead of coveralls, a confidence that filled the spaces grief had hollowed. Dad's talking retirement. "Wants you running numbers." I barked a laugh, mustard squirting onto my jeans. Me? With spreadsheets and subcontractors? I'd sooner wrestle a possum. But beneath the banter, gratitude swelled. This Jake, unscarred, unjailed, laughed freer, hugged tighter. No orange jumpsuit nightmares, no appeals court defeats. Yet the guilt gnawed. I'd saved him by dooming myself to moral quicksand. Hacking?
Leaks?
In America's justice roulette. That made me anti-hero at best. Felon at worst. A subpoena loomed from the Bar Association, probing my methods. Controversial decision too. Fight or fold? Fight, Jake echoed over funnel cake, crumbs dusting his shirt. "You're the one who taught me that." Heat lightning cracked the sky, illuminating his face. Trust absolute. The kind siblings hoard like contraband. We wandered to the pier's edge, waves slapping pilings below, and for a moment, I let the salt air scrub the residue. Rebirth's gift, not just survival, but reclamation. But shadows lengthen fast in dusk. Back home, the twist uncoiled further. Dad called late, voice thick with bourbon, summoning me to the old brownstone in Park Slope where Mom's ghost still dusted the mantel. He sat in her armchair, liver-spotted hands cradling a tumbler, the room redolent of pipe tobacco and regret.
"Seat."
Mija. Time for truths. The floodgates cracked, not just complicity, but inception. Dad had greenlit the skim years back. A loan from the books to bail Marcus out of his first big debt hole, poker tables in Atlantic City. The itch that started it all. He was family.
Ileana.
Engaged to you. Or so I thought. Engaged? The word landed like a sucker punch. In the blur of that first courtship, Marcus had dangled a ring, a promise I dismissed as too soon. But Dad? He'd bankrolled the monster to protect us. "You let him in," I whispered, the room spinning. Betrayal layered like sedimentary rock, Marcus the chisel, Dad the quarry. And when it went south, his eyes, watery, met mine. I buried it. Thought the fall would end it clean. Insurance for Jake's future. Clean? Dad's accident was no stage, it was patricide by proxy. A father's sacrifice twisted into filicide. Rage boiled. But pity tempered it. This man, backbone of our block, reduced to whispers and what-ifs. "I covered for you too," he admitted, voice fracturing. "That embezzlement charge? Marcus planted it, but I didn't fight hard enough. Feared the light on my sins. The cell's chill ghosted my skin. The isolation that birthed my vow. Forgiveness? A luxury for saints. Instead, I chose the jagged path, exposure, controlled. We come clean. Together. Or it eats us alive. His nod was weary. A white flag in the war we'd waged unwitting. Dawn broke as I left. City stirring with garbage trucks and early joggers. The weight lighter, but the scar deeper. Controversial? Hell. Turning state's evidence on your own blood, even if blood deep flawed, ranked felony in family code. Jake would hate it. The fracture in our fortress. But secrets fester. I'd learned that the hard way. Veins full of potassium chloride. The press conference hit like a nor'easter. Dad and I, side by side in a rented hall downtown. Flashes popping like gunfire as reporters bayed. Mr. Reyes, did you orchestrate the fraud? MS. Reyes, vigilante or victim? I gripped the podium, voice steady as rebar. My family built this city, brick by bloody brick. But greed cracked the foundation.
Today,
we own it, all of it. Dad confessed in halting bursts, the loans, the cover-ups, the desperation that birthed the beast.
no tears.
Just facts. The American way, mea culpa with a side of spin. Backlash erupted. A bonfire of vanities. Protests outside the brownstone. Signs scrawling, Reyes rot in hell. Neighbors who'd shared barbecues, now averting eyes. Jake stormed in that night, face thunderous. You sold him out? After everything? His fist slammed the table. Coffee sloshing. Dad's a wreck.
Ellie.
Cops at the door. Feds circling. He sold us first. I shot back. The words venom. Siblings claw when cornered. And we were feral. You think prison broke me? His lies chained us. The fight devolved. Accusations hurled like grenades. Jake defending the old man with a loyalty I'd envied in life won. You're poisoned.
Cease.
This second chance bullshit? It's delusion. Delusion? If only. But doubt slithered in. Was rebirth clarity or curse? Turning savior to saboteur? He stormed out, door rattling the frame, leaving me in the wreckage. Sleepless. I paced, replaying the rift. Marcus's trial loomed, September. The same courthouse where Jake's sham verdict had sealed our doom.
Ide testifi.
Of course. But now with Dad's shadow looming. The narrative twisted. Defense painted him the puppet master. Me the avenging angel gone rogue. Jurors whispered of Reyes' dynasty of deceit. The American dream curdled to nightmare. August sweltered. Humidity a shroud. I threw myself into prep, combing transcripts with a vengeance that bordered obsession. Jake's silence stretched, texts unread, a chasm wider than the East River. Dad aged visibly, stooped in his garden, pruning roses like penance. Worth it, he asked one dawn, sheer snicking. For Jake?
Yeah. Lie.
Half. Truth. Survival's the ultimate score settler. But as fall leaves turned, a olive branch arrived, Jake's truck idling outside.
Headlights skating fog.
He didn't speak, just opened the passenger door. We drove in quiet, windows down, wind whipping regrets. Saw the prep files, he muttered at a red light. Dad's neck deep. But you're right, it ends now. Reconciliation's fragile as eggshell. But we patched with purpose. Together, we fortified. Jake schmoozed witnesses. I drilled cross-exams. Marcus's defense crumbled early. His bookie flipped for immunity. Cayman trails lit like Christmas. Courtroom day. I took the stand in a crisp blazer, heart pounding like bass at a trap show. The prosecutor, a bulldog named Vasquez,
Leaned in.
MS. Reyes, you admit to unauthorized access? Hacking? Yes. Gasps rippled. Controversial decision 3. Own the sins. But it exposed his. Marcus Hale didn't just steal money, he stole lives. The jury leaned, rapt, as I wove the tale, betrayal's blueprint, from lover's bed to scaffold's edge. Marcus glared from the dock, cuffed and cornered, his charm a rusted blade. Verdict dropped like guillotine, guilty, all counts. Life.
No parole.
Cheers erupted, but mine choked. Justice? Yes, but Pyrrhic. Dad's plea deal followed. Probation. Restitution. A felon's brand on the family name. Jake shouldered it, expanding the firm with ethical steel, while the bar cleared me, miracle of miracles, dubbing my zeal commendable.
But scars itch.
Winter crept, snow blanketing sins. Holiday lights twinkled on brownstones, forgiving faster than folks. Dad hosted Christmas, table groaning under tamales and eggnog, Jake's laugh booming anew. I watched from the kitchen, wine glass in hand, the old Eliana whispering doubts. Reborn, but human, flawed,
Fierce.
yet the final twist lingered. A barb in the happy-ish end. That anonymous email? Traced to a burner. But the sender's shadow? Marcus's sister. A ghost from his past, seeking her own vendetta. Blood calls to blood, her note read. Paranoia bloomed, but I burned it, choosing forward. America's tense tapestry, betrayals woven tight, revenges unraveled bold. I believed in innocence once, blindly.
Now,
I forge it, one calculated risk at a time. Spring 2021 unfurled like a tentative truce. Cherry blossoms dusting sidewalks as if papering over cracks. The Reyes name endured, battered but buoyant. Dad's restitution paid in sweat equity. Volunteering blueprints for habitat builds. His penance public and poignant. Jake's firm boomed. Cranes etching skylines with honest steel. No shadows in the margins.
me,
I hung a shingle in a walk-up near the courthouse. Reyes advocacy. Pro bono for the framed, the forgotten. Clients trickled. A cabbie pinched for weed. A nurse scapegoated in a pill mill bust. Small fish in big ponds. But each win chipped the cynicism. Rebuilt faith in the grind. Still, nights brought phantoms. I jolt awake. Sheets twisted. The execution chambers hum lingering like tinnitus. Rebirth's toll, hypervigilance. A sixth sense for snakes. Marcus's sister, Elena, elegant viper in pearls, sent postcards. Cryptic barbs postmarked jersey. Families forever. Eliana, stalker or sympathizer. I filed them away. Told no one. The lone wolf's burden. Controversial? Bottling threats in a city that devours the vulnerable. But exposure risked Jake's fragile peace. Dad's fragile health. Summer scorched. Heat waves warping asphalt. Jake proposed a road trip, escape to the Cape. Salt air and lobster rolls. Just us. Like kids. I packed light. Ghosts heavier than luggage. The drive blurred highways to beaches. Radio blasting Dylan. Windows down to whip away webs. At the rental, a weathered A-frame on Nowsit light. Waves crash like applause. Erasing edges. We bonfired clams. Jake strumming guitar, his voice gravelly on Tangled Up in Blue. You ever think about what if, he asked, embers glowing. Every damn day. Honesty's bomb. I spilled fragments, not the death, the reset, but the dread. Losing you again? Can't. He pulled me close. Chin on my head. The brother bond, ironclad. Won't happen. We're bulletproof now.
Folly.
Elena struck mid-August. A call from a blocked number, slicing vacation's haze. Meet me, or your brother's tires get more than slashed. Rendezvous, a dingy clam shack in Wellfleet. Air thick with fry grease. She waited in a corner booth. Mid-40s. Marcus's cheekbones sharpened by spite. He was my everything, she hissed. Photos fanned like cards, us at the trial. Dad's plea. Jake's expansion. You destroyed him. Self-defense. I countered. Voice level. Recorder whirring in my pocket. Rebirth's edge. Patterns recognized. Your brother's debts destroyed us first. She leaned in. Perfume cloying. Then let's balance. Dad's secret? Not just complicity. He knew about the fall, helped stage it. Insurance, double dip. Lies, or the abyss staring back. My pulse thrummed. But I probed. Proof. Her smirk mirrored his. Family archives. Drop the advocacy. Or it leaks. Jake's firm tanks. Blackmails American gospel. Leverage the legacy. I stalled. 48 hours, fleeing to the A-frame. Mind a maelstrom. Jake sensed the storm.
Spill. Ellie.
Over dawn coffee. I cracked. Elena's threat. The hook. His face darkened. Fists clenching mug. Dad, staging his own death. Disgust warred with denial. We drove back silent. City swallowing coast. The call to Dad a guillotine. He denied. Of course, veins bulging. Voice booming. That which twists tales. I loved you kids, more than breath. But cracks showed. A hesitant pause. Eyes darting to the mantle clock. Lie detector? My gut. Honed by hell. Test it, I pressed. Polygraph. For us. Defiance crumbled to defeat.
Fine.
For peace. The clinic was sterile. A far cry from courtroom crucibles. Dad strapped in. Needles pricking. Questions probing like scalpels. Did you know about the scaffolding? Yes. Did you tamper? Silence. Then, partially. Weaken links. For the claim. Thought it'd look real. Never meant harm. Jake bolted mid-session. Retching in the hall, I stayed. Stone. The final betrayal crystallizing. Dad. Not victim. But architect, his fall. A feint for funds. Marcus the fall guy turned Frankenstein. Crisis point. Expose or exhume. Controversial decision 4. The gut trencher. Mercy kill the myth. We confronted in the brownstone. Air electric. You gambled our lives, Jake roared. The son turned accuser. Dad wept. Collapsed to knees.
For you.
Debts for Mom's care. Cancer bills buried me. Mom's ghost loomed. Her chemo a black hole that sucked the firm dry. Human. Horribly. No more graves, I declared. We go public. Full disclosure. Jake's glare could curdle milk. But he nodded. The Reyes resilience rallying. Presser 2. Electric. Our family's flaws.
Leid bare.
Dad's confession. Staged peril. Unintended cascade. Shocked airwaves. Feds swarmed. Charges mounting. Fraud. endangerment. But Twist's mercy, age and intense softened blows, house arrest, not bars. Fallout fractured further. Jake shuttered the firm temporarily, retreating to the garage, wrenching engines like therapy. Hate this city sometimes, he muttered over beers. Skyline mocking. I nodded. Empathy's anchor. Elena backed off, her gambit gutted by truth's flood. Postcards ceased. A hollow win. Yet rebirth's arc bent toward grace. Winter thawed to renewal. Dad, ankle monitored, mentored from afar, his wisdom unpoisoned. Jake relaunched leaner. Reyes renew, green builds for at-risk youth.
Me?
Advocacy swelled. A beacon for the betrayed. Clients shared stories mirroring ours, systems stacked, souls ground. One. A kid from the projects. Hugged me post-acquittal. You get it? Emis. Reyes. Real. Climax crested New Year's. Times Square thrumming below as confetti rained. Jake and I ascended to the old diner perch. City a glittering beast. To innocence, he toasted. Earned, not given. Glasses clinked. Bubbles fizzing like hope. But the true twist? In quiet hours, I pondered the reset's cost. Knowledge a double-edged sword. Cutting deep. No tidy bow. America's drama unfolds messy. Debates raging in op-eds. Vigilantes or victims? I leaned villain. Perhaps. But unapologetic. Dad passed spring next. Peaceful in sleep. Letters to us. Forgive the father, not the man. We scattered ashes on the site. Now a community center. Jake's gift. And
Có hậu tai ghét bi.
the American cocktail. Triumph lace loss. Reborn. I walk bolder. Scars badges. Brother believed innocent. Now, we all are. Forged in fire's refute. The machine grinds on. But this time, I grease the gears my way.